somebody just want to make a motion?
I move we approve the agenda of this special meeting of the Board of Finance.
And
Second.
thank you. Any discussion?
Cindy?
Nope, Jim.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion clearly passes, and we have approval of minutes, just the regular minute, April 19th.
I move we approve the minutes from the April 19th Board of Finance meeting.
Second.
He had it, fine, he'd have it.
Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have public participation, but we really already have, but just in case somebody missed, if anybody would like. All right, so new business, on to the budget.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, you can go
I'd
ahead.
like to make a motion to increase the budget by 2% flat across the board from last year's $37,017,091 by a total of $740,341.82, which is a 2% spending increase over last year's budget.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Yep, me. So, hey, that's a fine motion, but there are some revenue adjustments too to this budget. And some things that came through the tax assessor's office due to their hearings that they've had. Now, you don't have anything up changed, okay? But you have your papers, right? So we pass these out to you guys to review. Do you keep a copy?
Oh, then I was, okay. Thank you.
Do I have one? Yeah, go ahead, pass it down. Do we need more?
That's fine.
It's going to be off his motion, can we?
Yes, it's discussion.
Well, then you really got it. They're going to change the revenue stuff, so if their motion gets in the way of us changing the revenue stuff.
Do you need copies?
Yep. You need some? Anybody have extra? How many went down that end?
No.
All right, so my discussion would be, that's a great motion and all, but there's other stuff we need to discuss as far as on the revenue side that has changed since the last time we met. But with your motion on the floor, we wouldn't be able to change those revenue items either. So that's completely up to you. We can keep discussing your motion and that's fine. But my suggestion would be we have some stuff we need to change revenue side, not just spending side.
Then I call the question.
Go ahead.
I call the question.
Happiness down there is calling the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Are you in
Oh,
favor?
we're calling the
So
question?
vote on this motion.
Yeah, to vote on this motion. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
All right. So now let's go back to his motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. All right, Phils. All right, so let's open the discussion to the revenues that are a little changing. So through the tax assessor's office and their hearings, the revenue on the grand list adjustment is going to decrease by $172,890. So where we originally had in for the grand list 969,094,665, it should be changed to 968,921,775.
Another. So we dropped more revenue?
Yes, because for the people that did their tax appeals to the town, the grand list decreased. But you still have page 2. We're not done.
All right.
So, I mean, you guys don't have to change it. That is the truth. It is what it is. So, if you'd like to make a motion, we can change it, but you don't have to change
This
it.
thing has been like hitting a
It's up to
moving
you.
target. Jesus.
So that's the only change you need to make to revenue, there's nothing else.
Well, and the other part of the revenue, if you look at the general fund summary of revenues on the second page, there's a couple things. In reviewing some of what has come from different towns, and what little kind of has mushed at the state level, there is a page that Gail got from her counterparts at different towns of what they've done and where they're going. Things things like what we've done as far as like the teacher's pension, some towns have put it in, some towns haven't put it in, some towns have put a little bit in, it's all over the place. And it kind of looks like we're good, I mean, it looks like half have left it out as we have, so it looks pretty good. One of the things that looks to change if you do our math, a suggestion was for TAR, where we had 240,808, to have it go to 267,266, and that was just keeping it level where we were before, where we brought down. And they don't think that that will truly happen as we brought it down before. Another line is Pequot 45.5, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gail, because where we had 41,034 would be another adjustment. Pilot 71,522 from 52,034. And there was another one. Adult education slightly up from, no, down, right, Gail?
Yes.
Down slightly, 15,871 to 15,604. And then
Municipal revenue sharing, another one that,
the educational cost sharing, yeah. It was recommended that we not split it up just yet to special education and educational cost sharing, but that it stay together for now because it really is looking like it most likely will not happen. So to keep ECS at 5,135,600. So, long story short, bring state revenue to 5,795,571 from where we originally had it at 5,559,548, with a difference of making us only short the 500,530 where we were 736,553.
Is that all?
Well, the good thing about it though is where you lost your 172, you've just made that up there, plus a little bit more.
going up about 236,000.
Right. And we went down 172,8 in the grand list, so 60 grand up a little.
So the mill rate's going to be 1.05 if the budget stays the same.
Correct.
That affected the automobile rate too, but it was under 50.
Correct. Because we had the whole automobile thing, but it wouldn't be that way, it would bring it to 31.98.
So we need a motion to approve the revenue adjustment.
Correct.
I will move to approve the revenue portion of the budget as, to the adjusted amount as presented.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Cindy.
I was gonna second. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes? No, 3. Did you vote, Jim?
No, I abstained.
Okay, we gotta say it or Peg doesn't know. Steve,
Well,
did you abstain?
I really didn't, I'm absorbing all these numbers, so I'm abstaining because, once again, the moving target has moved and it's allowed $60,000 and we're still in the hole. Okay?
Sorry, did you abstain, Steve? or did you-
Abstain.
Okay. So you have 2 abstaining and 3,
The hell's our first selectman tonight?
in favor.
CEO of the town can't show up.
No, he walked in and I walked out.
Okay.
Jesus.
So,
To change
Well, three of
all
the
of the
selectmen are here.
numbers.
yeah, you
I
can
know,
go
I
ahead and-
appreciate it, Dale.
Yeah.
Portion.
And you also, the grant list, it was all approved in the changing of the revenues. Okay, so go ahead and do that. We'll take a minute so you can do it slowly and not.
Make your motion again now that they've done this. That's changed.
I'll give it to you.
I don't want a discussion.
Yep. Tell me when you're ready, Gail, just take your time.
Jesus, I'd like to make a bunch of money and not have to show up for the important meetings. $5,000 raise. Jesus.
What did I do?
Oh, I don't care.
Oh, here it is.
It's ridiculous. Only hangs around when it's good stuff, won't hang around for the tough stuff.
So, you know, all those numbers are going down.
We increased. We were at a negative
700 and,
That's worth 2%.
That's,
Our previous state revenue was 5,559,000.
you should buy
We're at
it.
5,795,571 now. The last budget. We were at 5,559. So we increased revenue by 236.
And that's still including the 475,000 that we're taking out of a fund that we shouldn't be doing? Robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm just asking, since we're talking revenue there, we're creating for almost $500,000 of revenue, and we're saying, ooh, we got 60,000 back, but we're taking 475, isn't that the number?
Gail, he's talking
I'm
about
sorry.
the, are you all set? Are you done?
I finished this portion, yes, I have
You have to do the grand list letter, just do the finish making.
I apologize, I'm just frustrated. We're not saving anything. Maybe we're saving some, put some back where it belongs.
So for right now, I think I'm gonna just take the mill rate, the auto mill rate out at 32, because if we come in under 32, and then we can back that out if we have to.
Yep, sounds good.
Does that sound logical?
That's logical.
This here. We shouldn't be doing that. That's what we should have been doing, so we're really short 225,000, which we got this back, so roughly. How would Peter pay Paul?
All right. I'm
No,
showing
that-
no changes, that we're at a mill rate of 31.79.
All right, and then just another thing I wanted to discuss, just because so many people brought the police department up in public participation, that I feel that I should be bringing this up, because both the chief and the deputy approached me and felt that they wanted to make sure, they understood that it didn't pass, and they wanted to make sure to know that they understand they want to do their part, so they felt that in their budget, there was some 3 line items that could be looked at. And not a huge amount, but at least to give a little up as everybody else did. So, one thing in vehicle maintenance, they're at 32,466, and to just make it 30. That was, well, nope, I'm just saying what they said, and then these guys can
Okay.
discuss it. To look at the uniforms line, that it is coming closer than they thought this year to, this year expenditures. They're coming in close to this year's, so that they may not need that $13,000 increase. They'll need some, obviously, because prices go up in uniforms. Prices go up, but they probably won't need that entire increase. And then the OT variable line by some. So as far as the uniform, our increase was 13. I'm thinking if we put it in the line of probably half of that, increase-wise, they would be okay. And the variable overtime, what is it at? I don't have my glasses on.
It's at 277,768. It was an increase of 5,337 over last year.
So it may be just that, it stays the same as last year. So you guys can talk about that, but that was their things that they would wanted me to bring up.
So they give
So
us
that they,
53.
so.
And
And to be honest with you, it was obviously something that came up in the public hearing. It was very loudly spoken about, and obviously salaries and benefits and things like that are a contractual agreement and something that we can't. But at least they came in saying that they were willing to, looking at where they are at this time in the year, they feel that they could give that. So I just wanted to bring that
How
up.
much did you say from the overtime?
So $14,000.
Keeping it the same as last year,
So we're still
or
playing.
this year.
Yes.
Keeping,
So how much
yeah.
did we additionally allocate already for this year for police overtime?
$5,337.
Yeah, it was just an increase of 5
So what their concessions, like quick math, and I had this, or paper right in front of me, is $14,353.
Mhm. And if it had to be more, I'm sure, but I don't know that we have to, I'm just telling you what they said. Those are the 3 lines that they felt that there was leeway in, comparing to where they are at this point in time with the most recent check run and all of that kind of stuff.
So let me ask this question. The state is $400 million short tax receipts at the end of April, which drove the state budget deficit from 1.7 to north of $2 billion, and we're playing with $12,000 in a $37 million budget. Just a perspective.
Unfortunately, yep, that's what we do every year.
Okay, so when we go to the 2%, because it fails 3 times, we're back at square one. So why don't we pony up to what the voters really want, which is 2% across the board for a spending increase? We do it that way. Bill it out for 10, 5, 15, $20,000.
Yeah,
Can I,
absolutely. Well, we're discussing it, so you're fine. We don't really have a motion as part of the workshop, so go ahead.
so, I'm not so sure that everyone wants 2%, because we didn't ask them, and we didn't ask them to please fund a budget that is what we need. We didn't ask them that. We asked them to fund a budget that's already pretty,
Actually, we never saw what they gave back. We only saw the end result after it passed through the selectmen. And the selectmen, I'm beginning to wonder if they saw the original full request or not also. Just a point, Cindy.
right.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So I did a very informal survey and got very few responses, but every single response I got, I had asked on, the only way I could reach out is on Facebook, and in 4 different things for people to tell me, what were your thoughts on the budget, how did you vote, and how were your feelings about it. Very few, but there was no one who said the budget was too high, you need to reduce it. every single person was saying either the school is too low, that we have to present a usable budget, that we have to present the town with what we need. And so my little informal thing doesn't agree with what he's saying. Yes, I know there's a lot of people that are just go out there, and I think if it's 2%, they're gonna vote no anyway. They're gonna vote no, no, no until we get to the end, even if it was under 2%. But there is something that I wanted to say is that I think the different boards in the town that we were put here to guide the town in a way forward in an efficient and meaningful way, that we should lay out a path that we believe the town should take. 2% increases in spending is a path to ruin. It's a path that we can't sustain. It's a path that we cannot maintain the structure of our town with a 2% budget each year. So what we're saying is, we're all agreeing to, let's go down this path that's gonna get us to a bad place. I think we at least have to give the town the chance, this is what it takes. If we only go 2% this year, we are guaranteed next year to be taking huge cuts. And I really think we're talking departments, we're talking major services cut. If we don't go out there and at least ask for what we think we need.
I don't mean to be, hold on one second, Steve. I don't mean to be negative, Nellie, but seriously, how many people responded to you? 5? No, seriously,
10 altogether on my,
out of 700, so.
but nobody
No, I'm
felt
just
strong
saying.
enough to say no. No
I
one
know.
felt strong.
I'm
But
just saying.
I just think,
It's all
it's our, right, but it's our duty, it isn't our duty to say, come follow me down this path that's, we don't like, it's not right. This is what's right, this is what we need.
You do remember
This
we did that
school-
last year.
So we do it again this year. We have to give the people the chance to say no. And I think, the town, when we look at the budget, I do think the major thing driving the expenses, the spending, is the salaries. Salaries are increasing between 2% and 3% contractually. And the town side, we cover that. And this Board of Ed side, we don't. They're not even getting 2%. I think they should get at least the 2%, if not 3% for now to start with, to give a realistic budget and leave everything else the same.
And how are you going to afford that based upon the statistical history of the votes? Every vote for the last several
You gotta play the game. You gotta play the game to see how it comes out. You gotta make the vote. You gotta take the vote. It may be pie in the sky, but if you wanna just say, oh, let's
give what the voters want.
Are we supposed to guess what the voters want? Is that our job? Or is our job to put forth a budget to run the town? Our job is to put forth a budget to run the town. It's not to, let's guess what the town people want.
It's not guesswork. The voters have decided for the last several years, 2% or less.
Well, let's give them the chance, and if they say no, then
They did.
they
2
know
to 1.
where it ends up.
The vote was 488 to 233. That's a more than 2 to 1 margin. They said no at 2.49% spending increase.
And I think a lot of people said no because of the Board of Ed.
I just offered up 2% back to the Board of Ed.
Okay, Jim I know you guys are still going, but
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm sure after he says something.
I
you can
actually
go.
like this because you guys are like the real sides of what's happening here. And the real truth is, first of all, I want to thank the selectmen that did take the time to show up tonight. I appreciate it. So that I do appreciate. I think there's signs that showed up yesterday. Many of us had signs in our cars. I still do for the next one that says budget vote Tuesday, thanks to Bob Leach making up some. But there was also numbers out there. And Cindy, you mentioned Facebook, and on Facebook there was confusion. Jason Bauza constantly was on Facebook telling people, no, that's not the right number. I think this is a moving target that has been moving since the moment we started, with errors, mistakes, changes. Every time we've showed up for this, we've got a new change. I don't think the taxpayers realize we already rated the fund balance to the tune of a total of $500,000 almost. I think that if we really are concerned about moving the town forward, I agree with Cindy, 2% doesn't do it. I don't think we can afford to have the increase that was in the selectmen's first initial giving to us. I do think that we came up with a number that was a compromise from all sides, from, say, Steve's side, Cindy's side, and the rest of the board side. And that's what we presented to the public. We didn't present a one-sided budget, someone's agenda. We didn't attack one department or another. We didn't pick on Board of Ed. They might feel that way, but in hard cold cash, their increases are a lot different than the increase percentage that the town increases. So let's not talk percent, let's talk hard cold cash when we're doing that. So even with the revenue coming in, remember, we took $475,000 from the fund balance to create this budget. Again, money we shouldn't even really be touching. So if you want to talk real rates, we can put that out there. We could put out what the real thing is, but I don't think anybody's going to want to pay that. We've had elections in the last few years. People got elected saying they were going to lower taxes. That's not possible. It's not feasible. We can try to stabilize them, which we're trying to do. And that's why I think the last budget we had out there, even though it was voted down, that was a real budget which showed viewpoints from all sides, not from just the increase side, or I like this department better than this department, or this program better than this program, or from let's just burn it all down side. What it did was it presented a real budget. The fact we got some revenue in, I've got no problem, let's lower that fund balance transfer.
All right, hey, Jim,
Yeah?
just, I'm not interrupting, I have a
No,
suggestion.
I'm done. I'm really-
Because I like the line you're going in, and because in the public hearing, the police department was such a big thing, it really was, and granted, I know, Steve, to you, it's peanuts, but they did give some concessions, so I think maybe let's put those changes in, that they said, look at what it brings it all down to with the increase in revenue, and just see what number we're at, just for now.
Okay, I'm not real hep on touching
I know,
anything.
but let's just do it real quick, because we sat in a public hearing and we heard numerous people say.
Well, there was some misinformation. For instance, the 4 state police, go to Ellington now and see what's happening with that. They're actually arguing over whether they're going to keep state
Right,
police
or do
or
that.
have regular police, because the cost of the state police has become so astronomical because of the state's problems.
Right now, Ellington pays for the state police 70% of their
Right.
salaries.
So there you go.
And the state
People
looking to go to 100%.
look at Ellington and think it's like this picture-perfect thing, and it's far from it. So, but let's just do that, see where it gets us, and maybe we
All
can
right.
just put it to bed, because maybe you have a good idea. So Gail, can you just make quickly the changes to vehicle maintenance? Make vehicle maintenance 45. We'll make it level, easy numbers, because, sorry. 20.
25?
What did we say? 20, 30? Okay, do 30. Yep. And then you have your, Uniform?
65.5 increase.
At what?
I just look
You gotta subtract 65.
7,500 split.
Just look at 40,
I can't see the numbers.
45,000. See what- doesn't have to be perfect.
I can't do that.
Oh, 52204.
45, 643?
Just by 45. Yeah. And then you have your, just make your OT the same as it was. Take the 5 away.
I did want to just say one more thing, Geraldine.
Yep, absolutely.
In regards to those signs with the wrong numbers, whoever's doing it, I asked you to come to the meeting tonight and stand up and identify yourself. You did not. So I'm saying to you point blank, I think you're pretty chicken if you can't come here and tell me why you're putting wrong numbers out to the public. I'm telling you now, come to this board, tell us how you get the 3.7 or whatever. Bunch of horse crap. Should be ashamed of yourself, whoever you are.
Okay.
Well, ticks me
Back
off
up.
with misinformation.
Okay, did you want this back to a 0 over the original, or?
Over last year.
What was last year's number, Gail? What was approved for last year's number?
272, 431.
Yeah. So you're good where you are. So where does that bring you to the very bottom, to the end of the picture? What was your increase?
Oh, it came down 4,000.
Yeah, 0.04?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, yes.
Now, let's beat public safety up for that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. And you increased your revenues more, so it should have gone down, so double
But we're
check.
just looking at the
Yep, we're just looking at the
expense,
increase. I just want to see the mill rate at the end of the
so,
deal.
yeah. We were at 15,465.3
Mhm.
an hour. That got us 14,364. So really didn't
Too
Didn't
much.
even move the needle.
But I can't cut an officer like everybody wanted to, and
You keep
it
saying
is some
everybody.
office. Well,
How many
my
did you
10
say?
and your 10. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Barely moved the needle.
Yep, it did. But anyways, Jimmy, oh, you already said whatever you were saying. Okay, never mind. I thought
Are
it
you
was
trying
going-
to fire me up
No,
one more
no,
time?
no, no. I forgot you went on your tangent.
And we think the 2.45 is going to do any better than 2.49? No.
No. I didn't say that. I said let's just make them see what
I
they are.
understand, ma'am.
Did you say we got how much in revenue back, 60,000?
Go to your bottom line, Gail, what brings you to your mill rate and your, with everything encompassed, revenues and expenditures.
You would think along your line of thinking, if the school budget finally once was under 2%, that people would have said, yes, let's take this at 155, let's knock this in because we want this to be lower. That's not what happened.
But the
They
people
voted,
that,
no, they still voted no.
but the people that
They still
voted yes
no.
usually voted no because of the school budget.
Right.
And that's why I'm looking at if we've got an increase in revenue, maybe what we should be doing is putting that increase right toward the school system and then put the budget out at the same price tag it was out before. In other words, take whatever revenue we've received, put it toward the school, which is your concern, and obviously the Board of Ed's concern, they were somehow slighted. Put it toward the school, and thus we would be right back where we were and put that same darn budget out there, because that was a budget, like I said, from a bunch of different viewpoints.
So when it gets voted down again?
Well, in the end, we'll be at 2% anyhow.
Yep. and we'll spend the next-
Spend another $5,000. Unless you want to start cutting
Actually, if
everything.
you want to go
I
that
offered that
route,
up
and we
earlier.
end up back here, you're going to make it under 2 if you're going to make it go back here again.
This is less than a 1 point mill rate change. Yeah, 0.84.
What was the increase in revenue that we saw?
It was just more of an realignment
It was,
with
yeah,
the
you only
state
when about
revenue.
$60,000.
Are those numbers real?
When it washed.
Or are they throwing a dart at the board? Considering we're
That's-
$400 million
yes,
more.
Did every-
Looking back at like a 15-year,
They did,
Some
they've
statistical
done a
measure.
15-year study of what's happened each year between what the governor's put out, what's been approved, and what's really happened. And they did a 15-year study, and that's where everybody kind of came, did you, excuse me, did you get the, did we give everybody the, what every town's doing, kind of whatever, yeah. So, yep. So that's kind of, many towns have decided to put it off. I'm not sure how. I mean, I am sure because they explain how they're going to do it, but it's just a really dangerous game.
The session is not going to be over June 7th.
So. Oh no, some people put their, if you read, some people put it off till August.
So there's
Yeah,
no
they're-
money to move
Yeah.
into the school budget that's coming in this revenue.
No, you didn't really have it. I mean,
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
you went like
basically
this.
Yeah, this decrease.
So
in mill
nothing's
rate.
changed
Right,
from
because
our
we have
last
the grand list
meeting?
loss. and,
Right, so
You
nothing's
had some,
changed?
but nothing like, we
Minor.
didn't have a windfall by any stretch.
So we've not increased revenues really that all?
Now, the one thing we did with this though, that is a positive, is that you have the mill rate under the 32, which saves you the automobile. So,
And that's with the police department change?
That was with the police department.
that's
Leaving in the 475,000 from the fund transfer,
Yep.
which we really shouldn't be doing, but we're doing it anyways.
No, the state already did that, they just spent it today.
450.
$293 million,
Yeah.
or $380 million.
So let's see the bottom line, so if we want to make a motion, we can use that.
Can you bring them back
On
down
the
to
budget for the
Bring them to the-
expenditures?
I'm not going to spend all night here arguing with people. Not going to get anywhere.
That'll still fail.
anything?
Well, what the hell?
You're lost.
Be realistic, 2%.
You know, realistically, I mean, you can't, I don't want to flatline at 2%, there's definitely areas like the Broadway Fire Department, we want to fund that position. So I don't, that's where I'm afraid.
Yeah, I don't think we can go, I think it
I don't-
would be fair looking at every line and just doing the 2%. Half the reason that you want to, even if we had a 2% and we put it at 2%, it should still be the way the department's funded, not two, each line, two.
Is that not what the charter says if it fails 3
That's
times?
if it fails, but that's why we're trying to do it now and get it to, and I'm not saying I think 2.45 is right, Steve, I'm saying I'd rather pass it at 2 with where
You want to put
the money has been allocated to the best of what we've been told, than going, okay, here, fire department 2, here,
Then you're gonna,
town,
But every-
public works 2.
That every year,
then you have
after
to
that, we
$50,000.
make the appropriate adjustments to properly fund all the departments.
Yeah, we do,
We do,
under
we should still,
angst. but
We've
they're
already done
telling
that.
But
us
we do that every single time. So
We've done all
why
this.
is it a question that we wouldn't do that this
That's right.
time?
We've done that already. We've adjusted every department. We've taken from every
No,
department.
she means that when the 2% comes, it's always been actually more than one legal opinion, but the last legal opinion said that we could do it. Is when the 2% comes, we put it, allocate it to the lines,
And then
not just 2.
Right.
We transfer,
But the Board of
It's a-
Ed has to get 2. We can't, I don't think we could take Board of Ed under 2, we'd probably get.
no, everybody, you would be 2 on town side, 2 on.
Right.
you're still gonna fail.
Yeah, so.
So, in the end, if the Board of Ed people keep voting against the budget, it won't matter, because in the end, they're gonna get their 2%. This budget here,
I can't
again,
get a
still
budget to pass,
represents
too, so.
reality, I think. I think it represents everybody's opinion. And, I mean, what we heard
Except the Board
tonight
of
from
Ed.
public participation was various opinions, and people that voted against it because their item wasn't in there. And that's not seeing the whole picture, and I'm not picking on any one group, I'm saying, that's how people are looking at this budget. They're saying, well, my thing isn't there, so I should vote it down instead of seeing what it does accomplish. That's why this budget, when we put it out for the last time, I really thought it might pass. Then we see signs popping up around town, bumping it up them.
You're still spending too much. You still have structural.
Again, here, you got one side of the coin, we're spending too much. We got another side, we're not spending enough much.
And you're right in the middle.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna move my seat back to
You're like
Paul
the
Ed.
ping pong ball.
Yeah,
Well, if we,
so why not put
But you
the...
know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to change subject, but I'm looking at Paul right now because he did have just the one question and I don't mean to change that. The line is still there, it's not gone forever. We discussed that this time, I think, before, didn't we? Because there's history in that line for Upper Library.
but there won't be for 2
It
years.
wouldn't be going forward.
Oh, okay. So because it wasn't in there last year either, and we didn't have a line item in there.
We put it in because there was a budget request that was approved by the selectmen. So it was
Okay.
in the selectmen's budget is
Okay.
how it got.
But the year before, it did not get approved. So it wasn't there as a 0 or a $1.
Right.
Right, so it's not like
have
it's,
history.
yeah, it's not gone for good. I mean, they could bring it back next year and it could get added.
The same way. it did.
Okay, all right. Okay, just want to make sure. Sorry.
So I make a motion that we approve a budget, and tell me if I'm reading the number wrong, 37922
654.
654, for an increase of 2.45%.
Did you change the dates?
That's what the changes
Do
we
we
made.
not
That's
need
where
to
the
know right
changes,
in
this
this?
we didn't actually vote on that.
Yeah.
We didn't vote on the police though.
We didn't, that
Yeah, we didn't
includes the 14,000.
Oh, did you
Tentatively
need
in
to
there.
do a
All right, I
motion?
withdraw my motion, I make a motion to adjust the police department by how much, Geraldine? Who's the total of
She has
that?
to go back up, I don't,
Just say adjust it to whatever the numbers are.
Well, that's, Geraldine's gonna want me to say some number, I know it. She's not gonna let me get away doing a gray area on this.
Do we have to do each line item?
no. you
No,
can do
I
this.
just-
She's just trying to get your number for you.
Yes means no.
You are.
That you decrease the police department by 14,364.
Decrease, I make a motion to decrease the police department by 14,364.
364.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Now I make a motion to approve a budget of, could you go back to that number? Because I did not retain that in my head.
And you have to do the mill rate too, just so you know, so give
Oh,
her
is
time.
it on there?
It will be when she goes down.
Oh, okay. I make a motion to put out to referendum a budget of 37922,654, an increase of 2.45% with a mill rate of, this is exciting. Mill rate of 31.77. Anything else I need there, Geraldine?
No, you're good. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
So we're not adjusting the Board of Ed at all.
Still too much. I would recommend cutting out all the
Let's
EDC
put this
stuff.
out there and see.
Cutting out what, Steve?
All the EDC stuff we're not using.
Like,
Couldn't come up
The
with
$25,000, it was under, I don't remember what line it was on.
go back in.
What are we looking at?
What were you looking at, Steve? I wasn't sure where you.
EDC planner for 20,000.
Well, don't change
We're
anything,
asking
no
for
permanent.
No, she's just going to see
Okay,
where it is.
'cause there's
She's
a
not
motion
changing
and a
it.
second.
Yep, no, he's just discussing
I don't
where.
have that number written down.
Is that in planning?
It should be planning, I would think.
It's under the selectmen if you're looking for a salary for the, it's not under EDC.
Yeah, it's the, whoever our EDC coordinator is.
He's buried somewhere.
Professional services.
Yeah, that must be it.
Yeah.
We took that out already, didn't we?
No.
No, we reduced it.
We reduced it,
We have one project planned for next year.
well, again, that's not what are you looking to amend my motion
I'm
right
looking to
now?
amend-
No, right now, we're just in discussion, so he's saying where he feels we should have taken money
No,
before
But I
the,
can
so it's
amend
fun.
it, right?
I would leave it alone. If you want to amend it, you could try, but I would leave it alone. I don't know why we're changing anything when we were all in agreement that this was what was best for the town with the revenues coming at us.
Not all.
We weren't,
Well,
we were split.
okay, I'm moving down to Kathy and Paulette next meeting.
All right.
Can we see what happens when you wipe the 26.5 out, man?
Jim, I wrote where it came from, so don't.
Okay.
Professional services under planning.
I'm
Just
gonna
don't ask me to say the number without it up there.
I
Just
just
gonna
want to
say
save everything that I've already done.
Yeah.
For 26,000, I'll make them cookies.
Didn't see.
Can we see what the
I
final?
heard that,
Did a
John.
lot of that too.
I heard that. How about 24?
I'll do it for 20.
We're at 2.37.
Wow, I marked this down to 8,000s.
And so what, just because you obviously had that in your thought process, why was that in your thought process? Why do you not think it's important?
I do not think it's important. We have one deal coming next year. It's Colmar.
But he goes out and gets the deals. That's what he
How many
does.
times, he spent $3,000 this year.
Yeah, and he went out, and who do you think's been working on the casino project?
And she could have spent the $5,000 that she had available for Warehouse Point. Didn't get used.
All right, so you thought it wasn't enough, and so you're not happy with his motion. Any other discussion of where you thought that something should have?
It's gonna have to change. You guys can make the motion. I don't agree with 2.45, 2.37. I still think it should be closer to 2% flat.
Okay. All right,
So
any
you're not making
more?
an amendment?
It's not.
Not yet, we're still discussing the
Still
motion,
discussing.
and if you
Well,
want.
I was
to amend it,
asking if
yeah.
he's
It's
making
fine,
an
I will as
amendment.
soon as we're done discussing.
Kill
We're
it,
still
these
discussing, yeah.
those line items anyway.
Yeah, we would have to do them as line items and just kill the motion, but, so anybody else discussion? Were you?
I've been pretty quiet tonight.
Yes, you have. Really quiet.
And it's because it's, you know, I've thought of this many different ways, and I, you know, what Jim was basically saying, what I was gonna say earlier, I mean, we sat here as a group and we looked at each individual department, each individual line, and, you know, we presented a budget we felt was fair. I mean, every department in that last round we went through, I mean, we took money from the Board of Ed, we took money from every department across the board for the most part where we could, and to come up with a number we came up with. And like I said, and from the beginning, I says we put forward, and Jim said it again for me, so I didn't have to say it, we put $475,000 in there for the fund, which is a $225,000 increase. You know, we're burning that money pretty quick, but I mean, that was basically to offset the money from the state. You know, there's certain things in there that I will not go back on. I truly feel we need to fund the Broadbrook Fire Department's position. That's why I want to make sure we try and present a budget that allows us to fund that position somehow or other. That's kind of where I'm sitting here tonight saying, you know, as much as I know we need to get to that 2% number and to pass the budget, I mean, it's not a good number, but there's certain, that's why I want to try and present a budget that can pass, that has what we want in there for the departments that need it, and that's one I feel strongly that we need to do, and obviously he asked for 2, we gave him 1. You know, and there's no easy way to do this, and I looked at the numbers before the referendum vote yesterday, and I've looked at them again since, and I don't know where to go to do it. That's the problem I'm having as I sit here. I mean, there is several departments here tonight. I mean, if I know they have nothing, you know, big to offer us, but I mean, you guys have any thoughts on where you're at? I'm just gonna ask why you're here. That's what I thought.
He's smiling, but he's not saying
But he's
anything.
not saying a word.
You know, it's, you know, for us to sit here and, you know, make the decisions, like I said, I think we put forward a bare bones minimum budget is what we need to go forward. You know, the Board of Ed, I mean, they're asking for that money back, it is $100,000. Reality, what's $100,000? I mean, I know it's a lot, but in the general scheme of their whole budget, it's $100,000. I mean,
It's one position.
It's a position.
What's a position, but they also told, and I'm not saying yay or nay, I'm just, you know, we also have that line that, I always mess it up.
Yes.
TMS, the 69,000, that was still in there, they used it 1 year in the nurses suite, they used it another year for something else, so it's not as though it's a position, it's not a
and
position.
that's part of where I come from on the Board of Ed. I asked them a lot of questions. You know, they presented that they needed a 12% increase to maintain services, and they were able to bring it to 4.4, whatever their number was.
4.11.
And then in my questioning of them, I asked them specifically, I said, what's the $69,000 in capital improvements for? And they said, oh, it's just there for us to use where we needed to use it. So if you cut your budget from 12 to 4.11 and you still have $69,000 in there that you don't know what you could use it for, in my opinion, there's still money in that budget. So I had no problem with the $100,000 we took from them.
But we took, that was from the 4.11 increase. We
There's
took
still
it
money in
down
that
to
budget.
2.
I guarantee you there's still money.
We took it down to 2, and then we took $100,000.
The meeting they
off.
sat down with the Board of Selectmen the other night, they were saying we need to fund librarian positions. There's over $400-some thousand for librarians in their budget. And they said they don't have the libraries fully funded. I just think there's money in that budget that I have no problem with $100,000, and I don't think we need to put it back in.
So then why don't we take another $100,000?
You guys, everyone keeps on saying, we gotta fund the positions that we have to fund what we need to fund, and it's education, public works, and
We're funded
emergency
education.
service.
Education's 22 point, what, 3 million?
And you know that if you have it, if it was at a 2% increase, you're cutting services just because you know that salaries and benefits are way over a 2%
Okay, so
increase.
tell me where
So you
the-
gotta guarantee that you're cutting services already.
Where's the money coming from? We don't have revenue growth. We just got a decline in the grand list. I gotta take the money from someplace else? Sure, where?
But don't make it sound like, oh, they got money sitting there to burn.
I didn't say they
don't
had
think they
that.
got money sitting there to burn.
Well, that's why I'm pushing to
We
go.
cut, we already cut.
But that's why I'm pushing to go forward. All this discussion leads to one place, a very negative place. When we had a budget, whether you voted for it or not, we all discussed it, we spent weeks discussing it, we made compromises on all sides. We got to the end, it was a fair budget, and I think if people weren't misinformed about a number, I think some of those votes would have been a lot different. I think if people would look at the whole picture instead of their picture, the whole picture, there would have been a difference in the vote. I'm not saying any of this is good, but this discussion here, it's always gonna lead back to the same spot. We need to cut. Are we cutting too much? The budget we had was nice. At least it tried to address all the concerns. And again, we're taking $475,000 from the fund balance. If we really want to save money or raise taxes, let's just put that money back where it really should stay. I'm not comfortable taking that amount. I probably seconded it or made the motion because I knew where we're at. We're trying to get enough to everybody, but it's where we're at. This is real. This isn't going to change. It isn't going to change next year. Even if a big project comes in, it's not going to change between now and next year. This is where we're at. And I think to do different, if we change our minds, that means our original budget was flawed. And I don't believe it was. I believe it was a fair budget.
I'll wait 3 votes, Jim.
Huh?
I'll wait 3 votes.
Well, then vote for this motion that I've made tonight.
Hell.
And there's gonna be an awful lot of people voting no, because the Board of Ed budget is under 2, and
So if
they
a
don't
bunch of
get
people
the
tell you to
money.
jump off the cliff because it's the right thing to do, are you gonna jump or are you gonna do what you know is right, which is not to jump off that
Well,
cliff?
I think it's
Right,
right
and
to
I don't mean to
increase
be
it.
negative, Nellie, but they've never been able to pass a budget to get it higher for their school budget either, unfortunately. And believe me, I know. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I mean, so, you know, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that group is what is failing your budget.
I don't think it's any one group. I think we've got so many groups
Yep.
and everybody's been touched by this, so they're voting. No, because they're not seeing the whole picture that we're trying to keep everything in place and functional. If we go to that 2%, and Steve, I know you love that, but will we be functional without cutting services or programming?
That's not up to me to decide.
Well, there you go.
That's what-
So we're gonna have a hell of a mess when we get to the
We
2%.
don't set policy.
It's gonna be up to the policymakers of the town.
Can I ask this side of the table if they have any discussion?
I'm sorry, yes,
Oh,
please.
hi.
Anything over here?
Kathy's
Yeah,
got-
after the third referendum, it's gonna be 2% anyway.
Why do we do anything?
Okay.
I mean, when we presented 1.97, they turned that down too.
Yep.
So that was, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi. I agree with Bill. He's always come, he not only gives the problem out, but he always gives a solution or something close to it. I'm impressed with that. I've heard all the arguments. I like to listen because when I talk, I can't hear you, and you are what I'm here for. But I agree with Bill. He comes out with the, as he said, he can't see different than I can. I mean, we're trying. Board of Ed, he's right. It's 400,000 as a business person. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I have to, as I said, I agree with Bill. The rest of it's just, I mean,
But Bill, you voted against a budget once, right?
I had numerous reasons, but I was up in the air as to what.
No, try to increase it.
So
I don't know.
let's call the motion.
So, we good? Anything else? Okay, so we have Jim's motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Opposed?
Opposed?
There's still 3 ayes and 2 opposed, so it passed.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
did he say and send to referendum?
No, he didn't say anything.
I don't think you said it. Did you say? He did say it. Good job, Jim. Nice.
And I asked you 3 times when I was forgetting, so you know who I was
All
gonna
right,
blame.
so, yeah, all those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Motion passes. See you in 2 weeks.
Well, that was optimistic, Carolyn.
Oh, no, we have a
See you in
meeting.
2 weeks.
Oh, in a week, we have a meeting. In a meeting.
No, we'll be at this
Normal
again.
meeting. We have a regular
Thousands of
meeting
points.
next week in this room.
If I don't have a line item, I'm gonna vote no, and I don't think.
Anthony, you wanna know where I stand? I'm pretty sure you got my vote.
No, give me a line item, I would get budget. Without a line item, I get no budget request.
You can still request a budget.
But you requested a budget this year. and you
Isn't
didn't
it
have
By
a-
email to the treasurer
Right.
after.
And who's supposed
All
to
the
create-
budget requests went out. I've
Wow.
never seen what one even.
That comes from the Board of Selection, and I think that's who your argument said, not us.
That's the same with the youth center, you get one.
Right, and that's,
Determination is if you're not in the budget, you don't get a request.
no, but that's a problem you should have taken up with the Selectmen.
Only costs you $1.
But we're not here to make policy, you're upset about the policy.
But I think, but, he said, what's your name?